Hello everyone, this is your host Benson Noma. I'm here with
Miriam Dene.
And today we take a tour to the research on understanding how tea works, and for you as the consumer or you who want to know more about tea, to understand exactly what happens and how it goes. I'm standing here at the Quality Control Center where they get to choose the tea that goes into the machinery or goes into the factory to be processed further. So you will walk with us and then I'll keep on updating you on how it goes. So dear viewers, this is what happens the moment that we get the tea. The moment that the factory gets the tea from the truck, they take exactly 3 bags for sampling and they pick them randomly. One could be from the front to the back or in the middle. They take exactly 3 bags. These bags weigh approximately 10 kilograms each. And then they come to this quality control table. They pour the bags here and then they ensure that they mix the sampled tea leaves that have come to the factory. Once they sample them, they have to pick randomly again. All right? Once they mix them up, they pick randomly and they pick a handful. That handful should weigh at least 100 grams, which they use a machine to weigh it to ensure that it's exactly 100 grams. Once they do that, they pick from the 100 grams exactly 70 leaves. And from these leaves, they have to ensure that they are 2 leaves and a bud. So viewers, as we are leaving the Quality Control Center, I want to explain to you something. Once the 100 grams are taken as samples, and then they realize that at least 70 grams of the tea picked is 2 leaves and a bud, then now that is the point whereby the tea can proceed from this level to the factory for processing. If your vehicle happens to bring bags that do not get to this threshold, your vehicle needs to go back, because the factory has to ensure that every tea that goes to the consumer is quality, that every tea that gets to the market is the right quality for you. So dear viewers, where I'm standing, this is the way bridge. Once the truck has passed the quality test, from back there, as I showed you at the quality control table, the truck proceeds to this point whereby it's weighed. This is the weigh bridge where they weigh the weight of the truck. Once the truck moves from here, it goes to the factory whereby it's offloaded and the tea is left there, and then the truck comes back. When the truck comes back, it's weighed again on this weigh bridge whereby they calculate the tear weight. Now the tear weight, or the weight difference that they realize after the truck comes back, that is the weight that is given and paid as the kilograms of tea that is left in the factory that is paid to the farmers. Let's proceed to the next level.
From the offload part, tunakuja hapa, tuna majani imetandazwa kwenye vinanda ambapo zinawekwa from 12 to 16 hours to reduce their moisture from 70% to 85% before going to the next process, whereby I will show you the next process from here as we continue. So from the stage 4, so we are coming to the withered leaves, whereby this is the leave out to the processing or the cutting of the leaves through the conveyor system. From the leave out, we are coming to the next process, whereby it's the CTC stage, whereby it is the cutting, tearing and curling into balls.
the journey when we started, from when we get the leaf to when we were processing it. You've seen throughout the entire process, from grading it, from processing it, and now we've come to the final stage whereby we get the final product that we get in the market, and that is the final dried tea. This is the process whereby we do the grading and the sorting. So we sort the tea according to the sizes of its particles. You remember we said that it was being culled into balls during our CTC process. Now, in this process, we are going to sieve the tea step by step, getting each and every particle and grading it. This is what gets to the market. As you can see behind me is what we call the vibro sorter, or the vibrating sorting machine. In this machine, it has different kind of sieves, whereby on the top of the sieve is the tea grade with the bigger particles, and then as we go to the second one, it becomes finer to the final one, which is up to the dust level. Now, if you want to understand how tea works and the grading level works, let me explain this to you. When it comes to tea, we have exactly two kind of teas when it comes to grading. We have the primary grade and we have the secondary grade. Now, for the primary tea, we have this kind of tea whereby we have different particles. It does not have any fiber. It does not contain any fiber. Now, this one makes the highest value kind of tea in the marketplace. This is the primary tea. Now, on the second one, that is the secondary one, it has a lot of fiber. And that is the tea that now gets into the market a little bit lower value, or in terms of lower volume. The company that we are in, I'm just from speaking to the production manager. The production manager tells us that they produce exactly 85% to 90% of primary grade tea. Now, this is a final product, and as we'll be moving from this level, we'll be going now to the next level whereby we talk of packaging and how the tea comes to you. Once again, follow through with us, and we hope that you're learning and finding this very inspirational, very educational, and you're getting to connect with the very factories that serve you every day. As you have followed through the entire process, I want to be very clear. We have different kinds of tea. We have the black tea, we have the green tea, we have the orthodox, etc. Now, what we've just produced today, the process you've worked with us to make, is the black tea. What you can see, and what you'll be seeing even in the latter stages, is what we call the black tea, is what we are producing at this stage. Let's go now to the next level. So our viewers, this is the final process in the factory. And this is what we call the quality assurance level. Where I'm standing right now is in the quality assurance room, or what we call the liquoring room. This is where the specialists in tea come and test all the different grades of tea and understand which one is better. From the one that we discussed previously at the grading table, whereby we were speaking of some with finer particles and some with bigger particles. Now, the one with the bigger particle, as you said, remember we have a primary grade tea that has different levels because of their sizes. Now, the one with the bigger particles makes the one that is less strong, all right? That is less strong. Doesn't mean that the quality is bad. It just means that it's less strong because of the concentration. Now, the final one is more stronger because it's finer and it's in smaller particles. What happens in this room, the specialist will take exactly 5 grams of each from each bowl of the tea samples that they are taking. Remember, they're taking these samples from the dryer after every 1 hour. Every 1 hour, they take samples and then they bring them into this quality assurance room. Once they take the 5 grams, they weigh them, then put them into this bowl, pour in hot water and allow it to simmer or to liquor for exactly 5 to 6 minutes. Once that is done, they taste to understand whether the tea has the right taste or the tea gives the right sensation. Once they do that, they do not swallow, they spit it right inside here, because you cannot keep on taking tea the entire day. So this is where they want to assure you, or where they check whether the tea that comes to you in the market is the right quality, has the right seasoning, has the right flavors, and is healthy for you and right for you. Let's go now to the level whereby it's being packaged and brought to you. I take you now to where the tea that you've just seen, the black tea, gets its value addition. This is where they package it to ensure that it gets from the factory to your place of work, at your home, at the comfort of wherever you are, to ensure that you enjoy good tea and well packaged tea. What you can see behind me, I'm just from speaking to the value addition manager, and he tells me that what you can see is a dispatch waiting to be taken now to the marketplace. But as you follow me, I'll be taking you into the factory, whereby they will explain to us everything that goes into packaging, everything that goes into adding value to this tea that we've just processed throughout the entire process. Follow us through as we get to understand now what goes on in there.
We usually receive tea in bulk for our packaging, for value addition. This is why we put our tea temporarily. So this tea is going to be taken from here and proceed with our packaging processes. Where from here we are going to take our tea to the hopper. So this one takes about 2 bags of 60 kgs. So the tea that we put here temporarily is going now to be transported to our machine using the conveyor belt system. So this conveyor belt system, it is electrically generated, so it's going or moving automatically. So using that conveyor belt system, we are going to have our tea transferred to our machine on that funnel. So this machine usually do the packaging on its own. We usually have different SKUs, as we are going to see from this packaging area. Now, right about now, what we are packaging 50 gram. So we usually have different SKUs running from 15 gram to 500 gram. So today we are doing our packaging for 15 gram, but of course we are going to show you how our 500 gram, 15 gram usually look like. But for now, that is how the tea processing usually happen. But on this kind of paper, we usually have what we call KEBS adherence. And KEBS adherence, we usually do the stamping on when we did our packaging or manufacture, and that's why you can see we have our stamping machine over there, and probably maybe you can just have a look quickly. So this is where we do our stamping. So right about now we are doing the stamping for the machine. So this is just make sure that we are telling our consumers when the tea was manufactured. So this tea, when you get the tea usually takes a maximum of 3 years for it to do expiry or to go expiry. So when we put our stamp here, it will tell you when you are buying our tea, you can confirm on any piece or any bag when we manufacture the tea, so that from there you'll know if our tea is expired or not. So that is for the loose tea like this one. This area we do what we call the tea bag. So we measure our production for tagless tea bag and tagged tea bag. So this is the area that we usually do for the packaging material. So basically that is it for the packaging of tea bag and loose tea. But we also have what we call ginger tea, that we shall have a different or separate space that we usually do that packaging for. So the same process that we usually do on the other side, that is the same thing we do here. And here we majorly do with the bigger SKUs like this one. This one we are talking about 500 gram premium for Ken Fresh. So this is the machine that usually is so viable or so good for packaging this kind of bigger SKUs. And for the same usually happen even for ginger, but before we pack ginger, we usually use the machine which is called the blender. So we do the blending of ginger tea or one of our grade of the teas that we saw from the factory. We blend it with our ginger powder, which is we usually use actually the best one. So once we blend, we come use the same process that we've seen for packaging in this machine, because this is what we've designated majorly for us to do the packaging of ginger. So once we pack the ginger, the product that we usually found for we usually get for ginger is usually this one. So the same for ginger, we usually have 15 gram, 50 gram, 100 gram, 250 and 500. And of course the same usually applies like this one. So maybe if I can just get the ginger. So this one we are talking about is 100 gram. So ginger looks like this one for 100 gram. And so like this one is 250 gram for ginger. So this is usually what usually happen when you are packing ginger. So this is our branding for ginger, and of course you saw our branding for premium. So that's basically it for packers value addition. We usually have a very brief process as you've seen. Thank you.